All right, so we're going to change pace now a little bit, and we're going to go over to the history of Zionism. Now, this book, I didn't really assign this book to buy, and I'm not even sure how available it is. You say, is this a good book? Well, it's good and long, and it, covers the subject up to about 70 or so. When was this written? 72, a pretty good guess. Part 1 is Out of the Ghetto, Part 2 is The Forerunners, 3 is Theodor Herzl. This is the chapters. Part 2, The Unseen Question, meaning the Arab question. Then 6, Building a New Society, Left-Wing Zionism. 7, Blood and Fire, Jabotinsky and Revisionism. Then 9 is the Weitzman era, the European catastrophe, the struggle for the Jewish state is 11. So actually, we don't need all those things, but if you want a good history of Zionism, this is the best one there is. It's by Walter Laqueur. I can never spell this fellow's name. Anyway, I'm sure you can get it off, one of the booksellers online if you ever want it. And it's a good book for your library. I mean, I really do recommend it. We're not going to really do labor Zionism in this class. And we've already done Out of the Ghetto to some extent. The Forerunners we're going to do ourselves anyway here, and Herzl and everything we're going to do in detail. But, it's the whole story, so if you want to read this along with it, what should you read to keep up with where we're going to be? Well, I should have already given you an assignment, but Out of the Ghetto and the Forerunners is where you should be. We're not at Theodor Herzl yet. Maybe next time we'll get to Theodor Herzl. Now, I should give you, they actually sent me a copy here, which is really, mine's falling apart, as you see. I originally paid for this book, where is it? I can't even read it. What it looks like, I don't know, it was about maybe, $1.75 or something. And if that, and now I don't know what they get, but some absurd price. $30 they go. What are you going to do? I know my books are falling apart, but I don't like to take my notes and transfer them, so this is the last term I'm going to use this book, so that's cool. What I want you to read in this book, if you haven't already, is, I should have given it to you last time, but in exams, and I don't like to interrupt people's thinking and so on. Yehuda Alkali, the first person, the precursors, that's parallels the stuff we were just looking at in Laqueur. Kalischer, Hess, those are the first 3 people. Moses Hess I mentioned last time. Eliezer ben Yehuda, very important person. And look at the dates on these people. Kalischer, Kalischer 1794 to 1874, 1795. Alkali 1798 to 1878. So these are really very early thinkers in terms of this approach. And interestingly enough, as you can see, those first 2 names, at least the first one anyway, are Sephardi names. Now, I didn't really go into the parts of Rudovsky that relate to some of the other thinkers that, apart from the, Reform Judaism, historical school, and so on and so forth. I didn't really go in very deeply into some of the other people that he covers, but you might want to because it's really very interesting. For instance, he has a person that he covers, Samson Raphael Hirsch, 1808 to 1886, so he's even a little later than these people, who he labels as neo-orthodoxy. And these people are already moving backwards to retrieve orthodoxy in Central Europe, in Germany. But one of the most interesting is this Samuel Luzzatto from Italy. And I think his dates are 1725 to 1805. Which is really even earlier than these ones in the Zionist material. Now he has a pretty good presentation of Luzzatto. Oh, pardon me, Luzzatto is 1800 to 1865. Pardon me. So he's a contemporary of these other fellows. So it isn't going backwards. But he does a very good presentation. I've got all my notes out of him anyway, and I you know, there's no point my reading them what you can read yourself in that particular book. But he is very upset about the Maskilim. Maskilim were the people. That's a Hebrew word for someone who follows Haskalah. Some of you didn't understand what Haskalah was. Haskalah is the Jewish word for the Enlightenment, meaning bringing the philosophy of the Enlightenment into the Jewish community and trying to upgrade it. Something like the Muslims need to do now, which they're not going to do. So, because they threaten each other with beheadings and other kinds of things, so there's not going to be any enlightenment going on anytime soon when people are threatened with their life. So that isn't going to happen. And it's a very dangerous world, as we've said, because of people with a medieval mindset are going to have modern technology at their disposal, which is what the whole struggle we're witnessing is all about. Who wants to deal with it and who doesn't, but we've already been through that. Well, at this time, the Judaism experience of this back in the late 1700s, early 1800s, the same thing was going on, but without basically resorting to violence and cutting people's heads off or whatever. So he's not happy about and he sees most of this reformism. He's from Italy. So if you're from, you don't know Jewish names, most of you, but if it has a German sound, it's usually what they call Ashkenazi. And if it has a kind of Spanish or Italian sound, it's usually, in Europe anyway, Sephardic. And these Sephardis got into areas like the Balkans and Italy from the expulsion from Spain, where they went to the Ottoman Empire, and the Ottoman Empire had control of the Balkans, and others went to Italy because of a thing called the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies, where they were able to go there anyways.